Good afternoon, guys. So today I'm gonna be doing a reading vlog of The School for Good and Evil. And this is a reread for me. I've read this book multiple times. I got this like years ago, but I want to do a reading vlog of it and tell you guys all my thoughts and see if it still holds up to how much I used to love it when I was younger. Because I loved this book when I was younger. So basically, I'm just gonna read the bag and then we'll move. Sophie had waited all her life to be kidnapped. Every 4 years, 2 children are stolen away from Gavaldon, never to return. Most children fear being taken to the school for good and evil, but not Sophie. She had dreamt all her life of being a princess and believes the school could be her chance. Her best friend, Agatha, love Agatha, has other ideas. When the 2 girls are taken, things don't go to Sophie's plan because sometimes the princess and the witch don't look like they do in fairy tales. I love this synopsis. Like the description at the back, it's beautiful and it literally describes what's gonna happen. I'll just read the first chapter and then I'll tell you guys my thoughts of the first chapter and then move along, like reading vlogs, move along. By the way, I love like each chapter. At the beginning of each chapter there's like a little cute little drawing or something. It's so cute. Look at this beautiful map. Is this map not beautiful? I think it's so beautiful. Like it's quite helpful when they're talking about like later on in the book when they talk about the different towers. Like you can come back to this map and look at them and be like, oh, okay, so that's the Charity Tower, that's Valor, and then on the other side here's Vice and Mischief. Like it's just such a beautiful map, I'm telling you. Like it's gorgeous. Like the attention to detail, I just wish it wasn't black and white, but it's gorgeous. It's literally so gorgeous. Are you serious? So they're talking about like the headmaster of the school for good and evil kidnapping 2 girls, right? Taking them to the school of good and evil. And he's like, no, the person that should be taken is Gunilda's daughter. Gunilda, I don't know, this person's daughter, right? Because she cooks and makes lunches, home cooked lunches for her father. She even gives leftovers to the poor hag in the square. Who is the poor hag in the square? The poor hag, man. Why are you calling her that? Or like that's mean. And then Sophie says Sophie heard the edge in her father's voice. She had never once cooked a full meal for him, even after her mother died. Naturally, she had good reason. The oil and smoke would clog her pores. But she knew it was a sore point. What? The oil and smoke would clog her pores. I can't. That laugh sounded really bad. What is this? No, guys. Okay, so I just finished chapter 1 and it was really cute and interesting, and also yikes, this is just reminding me how much I don't like Sophie. I don't know if she's gonna change over this book series, but for first 2 books that I remember, Sophie's horrible. I don't like Sophie at all. She's selfish. She thinks she's a good person. Sophie thinks she's a good person, but she's not a good person at all. Because all the things that she does for her own selfish ambition. The things that she does to quote unquote help people, is for her own selfish ambition. And she befriended Agatha, right? When she started being friends with Agatha as a good deed. That's how she started, because she wanted to, be like, she wanted to go to obviously the school of good, because the school on the left, right? So where Agatha is the school for good, and where Sophie is the school for evil. I mean, on the cover. So you know who's going where. And then we have Agatha here, who is very different from a lot of the people in her town. And because she's different, she's considered quote unquote evil, which is so sad, honestly, to see. She's very different in a lot of her opinions, and some of the stuff she has to say is quite funny. I'm not gonna lie, it's quite funny. In the best way, but because a lot of people are like, in a lot of fairy tale books, when someone is different, right, they are considered evil, which is so sad. And maybe that's also why, like, a lot of the times in like life, some people feel like bad for being different, and that shouldn't be the case. Just because you're different, it doesn't mean you're evil or bad or something's wrong with you. So I feel like a lot of people could learn a lot of stuff from this book. I mean, I just finished the first chapter, but I love this book. I laughed a couple of times. Like, these characters are very interesting, and I love the way that they were described and written. Like, we can clearly see already from the get-go, Sophie is a horrible person, and we can also see from the get-go that Agatha is a very different person. And we're going to learn as we go on, right, how different these two are, and how in the midst of this, are they still going to keep their friendship even when trials come and like whack them across the face. So love the person who took time to like draw all these illustrations. The cover is amazing. I love the cover. But yeah. So I just wanted to say something, because I found it quite interesting, like, to see how both the girls are on completely different missions. So Sophie's mission so far, because I'm currently on the chapter 5, which is page 75 in my copy anyways. And these girls on two completely different missions. Sophie's mission is to get to the school of good. That's her mission. Her mission is to get to the school of good, and Agatha goes to the school of evil. That is Sophie's mission, right? Whereas Agatha's mission is a completely different one. Hers is to get both of them home. And we can see also, one thing I also find kind of sad about this whole thing is how, like, Agatha's self-esteem has really been destroyed by the place that she grew up in, because, like, she constantly sees herself as ugly. Whenever she sees mirrors, she turns away or looks to the floor. And it's kind of just, it's really sad to see how, like, because of the village that she grew up in, the village of Gavaldon, like, everyone believed her to be a witch or evil and all that, because she did have some very interesting stories, like, a lot of the stories, like fairy tales, she reimagined them with, like, the protagonists, the main heroes and stuff, like, dying horrible deaths. Like, people would think, like, she's quite evil. And she's like, well, I thought it was a better, ending. I thought it was funny. But it's just so sad to see how, because she was misunderstood, even her mother has been trying to raise her up to be a witch, which is just so sad. Her mom wants her to go to the school of evil, but it doesn't seem like that's who she is. And throughout this book, we're going to see just who Agatha is and just who Sophie is, and we're going to see both of their characters being revealed throughout the coming chapters and throughout the coming pages. We're going to see who they are inside and the characters. It's just so, I can't wait to see everything. And then obviously, the schoolmaster is also a very mysterious character, because, like, they know him as the shadow that kidnapped them both. Yes, and then obviously, it's just so interesting to see, like, everything again, and all the characters we're meeting. And the book is quite interesting. I really like this book. Like, it's a fun ride, let me say. It's a fun ride indeed, just to see the different missions these girls are on. and the lengths that they're both willing to go to accomplish their missions. Sophie wanting to go to the School of Good because she wants to be a princess, and she wants her best friend, who she claims is her best friend, to be a whole entire witch. Best friend who? Best friend where? Whereas Agatha's one is like, no, I'm gonna rescue you and we're both going home. And I'm just like, oh, you're so cute. To a certain degree, it is a selfish wish because she doesn't want to be here. She wants to go home. She wants to live a simple life, with Sophie. She just wants to live her life with Sophie, where they go on walks and they just enjoy life together. Sophie, however, does not want that at all. She wants to be a princess. She wants to have her happily ever after. Yeah, and I think both of these girls are also like 12 years old. So we're gonna see them, I think, grow up throughout the books as well. So I can't wait to give you another update. But that's what's got everyone acting like this. Oh my gosh. To chip in and say, I love the way that Soman Chainani is this way that he describes like things is actually really nice, and you can like kind of picture a lot of the stuff. It's quite cool. So I love his descriptions. I love descriptions of like, Pollux and Castor, those guys. I love his descriptions of like the buildings and the places that these guys are in and the different pews. Like the way he describes these different things in the book is beautiful, I think, and it's quite easy to understand as well. Yeah, it's really, really nice. So I just wanted to chip in and say that. Sorry, this camera is a bit shaky, it's in my hands. So I just wanted to read something that literally sums up their different missions. Right then and there, the problem smashed Agatha in the face, the one that had plagued them all along. For as the two girls were pulled to their opposing towers, their opposing desires couldn't have been clearer. Agatha wanted her only friend back, but a friend wasn't enough for Sophie. Sophie had always wanted more. She wanted a prince. And that's how chapter 5 ends. It's so sad, honestly, because like Agatha literally values their friendship so much, right? Because Sophie has been her only friend, versus Sophie, who's like, no, I want to be a princess, and I'm saying it like this because she's annoying. I want to be a princess, and I want to have a prince, and I want to live happily ever after. But it's just so sad to see their opposing like goals. And like Agatha wants to get them out of here quick, whereas Sophie wants to stay here. And it's just it keeps getting more and more evident as we read the book. But yeah, we'll see who succeeds in the end, if Agatha succeeds or if Sophie succeeds. We'll see. Okay, so it's like 2 days later, so from the last day I updated you, but a lot has been going on. I literally just have this portion left. I'm doing a lot of reading. I'm on page 311 currently, and a lot has happened, right? A lot has happened. Sophie and Tedros started dating, and then that died very quickly. Well, they're still together. However, Sophie, like, she was winning all her pre-trial like tests and stuff because of Agatha helping her, and she was number 1. And then because Agatha wasn't helping her because she betrayed Agatha, right? Because when she was supposed to kiss Tedros, she didn't kiss Tedros. She wanted to have her quote-unquote happily ever after instead of going home and betrayed Agatha. That's what she did. And then obviously Agatha was mad at her. But now there's a whole bunch of nevers trying to kill her because they hate her for literally like destroying evil's reputation, all that kind of stuff, you know, quote unquote destroying evil's reputation. I think they're being a bit dramatic, but they don't like her because of a lot of the stuff that she's doing out here dating and ever. Who does that, right? So because of that, people are planning to kill her. And then she's like asking Agatha for help, and then obviously Agatha helps her because she didn't know that people were trying to kill her. Agatha was still mad at Sophie for betraying her, which is completely understandable. But then she decides to help her because, well, she doesn't want Sophie to die, because even though Sophie has done so many terrible things for her, and Sophie does not deserve Agatha in any way, shape, or form, because Sophie's a horrible friend, Agatha still decides, okay, I'm going to try and help you because, well, I don't want you to die. So literally we are there now, and literally like Agatha was like planning on helping her, scouting the place and all that, but then like Hester knows that Agatha has been helping Sophie through all these different trials and stuff when she was winning. So literally they were quote unquote exterminating all the cockroaches in the school of evil. So obviously now Agatha can no longer, at least if she's going to help Sophie, she can no longer show up in a cockroach form or she will die. Hester will kill her because Hester wants to be team captain. She wants to be captain of the Nevers. And in order for that to take place, Sophie needs to disappear because Sophie is pure evil. Whether she likes it or not, she is pure evil. But I'm really, really hoping that she gets a character, like what I'm hoping, right? This is my desires. I'm hoping throughout the series that Sophie actually starts realizing that she's a selfish, rude person and that she needs to redeem herself and change for the better, even though she's like a horrible witch. She's a witch. Whether she wants to believe it or not, she's a witch. And she needs to acknowledge that first off. Second, try to change, right? Third, change her character because her character is a very rude one, a horrible one. So change her character so that she becomes a better person. And then when things are all good and stuff, she can end up with Hort, because Hort and her, I think, would be so cute, okay? They would be so good. Like, Hort is literally so cute. He's adorable. Like, even though I think in this book she's described as ugly, I personally don't think he's actually ugly, okay? Like, at least in my head, he's like maybe not conventionally attractive, but he's adorable because his character is so beautiful. Like, from the moment he saw Sophie, he liked her, and he's been literally trying to help her throughout this whole book. And I'm like, this child is so freaking sweet. Even though he's evil and was brought up evil, he's been helping her, like, and then like even when these people are all trying to kill her because Sophie can't sleep in her own room anymore because her roommates are trying to kill her, she goes to Hort's room, and like Hort literally like is like, dude, okay, like she just technically she just bursts in and steals his room, but she reads all his notes, trying to, you know, prepare herself so that she knows as much as she knows a lot of information for the trial. Because throughout this whole thing, Agatha was actually the one doing all the homework, the evil homework. And Agatha, oh yes, another thing, Agatha was really enjoying evil homework. Like, she was enjoying it so much. And honestly, I personally, even though I'm not rooting for evil and being wicked and stuff, I personally think I'd also enjoy evil's homework. Because they get to do so much more like fun things, so much more fun spells, so much more fun stuff, versus like with good, you know, talk to animals, make sure there's a prince near you, like all this stuff. I feel like that the women specifically, or the girls, because they're like children, they're 12 years old, and the girls are being taught for good on the Evers side. It's just so boring, honestly, so boring. And I literally get Agatha completely, because I'm like, girl, I feel like I'd also be you in this instance, because the stuff good is teaching girls is boring. It's literally so boring. But the stuff that evil teaches girls is now some nice stuff, some useful stuff that I think you can use to defend yourself and not kill people. You know, I mean, they teach you things that could end up killing people, but you can use those things not to kill people, but to defend yourself. And that's something that I really like. So yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying this book so far. I mean, like, it's just so good. Like, it's so good, and I'm almost done. And I even like Hester. I like Hester and I like Dot. I don't know much about Annabelle, but I love Hester with her, you know, her strive to literally become like evil's class captain or school captain, and her drive to literally do anything, even though she's evil. Like, she is evil, but she's so ambitious, you know. And then we get Dot, you know, our cute little Dot, who's described, you know, as like someone who's like turns she can turn anything, almost anything, if not anything, into chocolate, which is such a nice skill to have because I love chocolate. So Dot and I feel like would be besties, even though Dot is also evil if you have to think about it, but she's also sweet. So I'm like, evil? Are you really evil? And then there's also people on the good side that I'm like, I think those people should be evil. Like Beatrix, for example. That girl is pure evil. I don't care what y'all say, putting her in Eva. No, she's no Eva. She's evil. She's literally so mean. Yeah, I can't with her. I can't with her. And then we also see, Tedros. Tedros, even though he comes off quite arrogant and stuff, we actually see that he wants more than just vanity. He wants more than just appearances. He wants someone who really gets him, who knows him, who desires him not just for his looks and for him being like King Arthur's son, but for someone to love him for who he is, for his characteristics, for his personality. And I think that's so cute. Even though he's fallen for the wrong girl, Sophie, he has, because Sophie was out here doing some stuff, which were also kind of quite nice, giving evil hope. That was cute. I think that was really cute. Even at the end, she betrayed evil. That's why everyone's mad at her by getting with an Eva. That's why everyone's mad at her. So again, I've been really enjoying this book so far. The descriptions in this book, amazing. I love it so much. The way it's written is easy to read. Obviously there's still words here that I don't know, but obviously just search them up, but it's really nice. For overall, this book is so nice. I remember why I enjoyed it when I was younger, and I'm also right now as a whole 19-year-old still enjoying it so much. This world is beautiful. This world is beautiful, a fairy tale world. And I also love Professor Seda. I love that man. Okay, I don't care what everyone says, we hardly see him in this book, but I love Professor Seda. I do. He's adorable, man. He's adorable. And he's got a brain. I love people who are intellectual. You don't understand. I do. And Professor Seda fits that. Fits that part. I really just cannot wait to continue and to finish this so that I can get to the second one and the third one, because I've been wanting to read the third one for years and I finally have it. So yeah. Okay guys, hey, so now I'm finally on the last chapter 30, and that is literally page 476, and this is the artwork for the last chapter. Cute as always. Attention to detail is chef's kiss. And now I'm gonna read the last chapter and then tell you all my thoughts about the book. So I just finished The School for Good and Evil, and wow, this was a whole ride. So much happened here, so much character development between both Sophie and Agatha. Constant conflict with Tedros, poor child, constantly always confusing good with evil, evil with good, poor child. But what I love about this book is it showcases, as you go on, it showcases that good and evil is not as black and white as we'd like it to be, and it showcases even the witches helping princesses helping witches, each side defending one another and helping one another. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I'm so glad that throughout this book, Agatha finally found out that she's actually the princess. She deserved to be a princess, that she deserves to be in the school of good. I'm so glad that she actually gained a self-esteem thanks to Professor Duvet, who is actually Cinderella's fairy godmother. So that's pretty cool. I'm really glad that she finally gained self-esteem, because for the longest time she's hated the way she looks. She hates herself. She hated a lot of things about who she is. And I'm so glad that throughout this book, close to the last third, she starts actually gaining self-esteem. She starts actually seeing herself as beautiful, and because she sees herself as beautiful, everyone else around her also starts to perceive her differently. I'm so glad that throughout all these things you can see how tactful she is and how smart she is, and how Agatha was willing to sacrifice herself for Tedros, you know, during the trials of Tales, or Tale by Trials, one of the that whole trial. She literally was willing to sacrifice herself for Tedros, even though back then Sophie and Tedros were still a thing. And then we also see Sophie's character development, where she gets more and more of a mess, where she starts really giving in to her evil urges and her evil desires. However, she keeps fighting that as well, where, you know, I also didn't like her because she kept being arrogant and rude and just thinking she was better than everyone else, and constantly calling Agatha her friend, yet she called her a witch, a hag, or ugly, a whole bunch of different things. And then when Agatha was actually gaining self-esteem, when she was actually becoming a great person, and seeing her, well, Agatha was a great person all along, but she was finally actually seeing that she was an amazing human this whole time, Sophie was no longer wasn't liking who she is anymore, because she just wanted Agatha to be someone who followed around and did everything that she wanted her to do, which I hated. That's why I didn't like Sophie. But we see as we go on in this book that Sophie doesn't want to be evil, even though the schoolmaster and her are basically evil lovers. They are lovers, they're distant lovers. I mean, she dreamt about him the night before she got kidnapped by the schoolmaster, who is her lover, and she knows that he's the man for her, or quote unquote he is the man for her. But like, we see her not choosing evil's love, right? We see her choosing not to be evil. We see her not wanting that, and I love that so much, that it, like, she literally was so close to winning, so close, but she decided, hell no, I don't want to be evil, I don't want to be wicked, I want to be good. And I love how Agatha said, you know, you're not evil, you're human. And I think that can showcase for us just today in this world, where we're not evil for the most part. We're not evil, we're not good. We're human beings, and we are a mixture of both of those things. We do horrible things to people and we do good things to people. And that's a mixture of us, basically, as we are. We're not purely good or purely evil. There's no such thing that exists in humans anyway. In the spiritual realm, that's a different story. But in human beings, there's no such thing as just good and just evil. It's a mixture of the two. It's a mess. It's a mess. And I love how this book ends with them going home. They go home at the end, and they basically leave this whole world alone. And I love how they tore the barriers. Their story tore the barriers between good and evil, and showcased that, hey, actually guys, we're all one and the same, we're all human. So I loved this book. It was amazing. I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars because it was a whole ride. I loved it. It was amazing. Like, why should I give it anything less than that? Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It was a whole ride. I was like storming through it. If your possibility I could get to read, I was trying to read. So I mean, there's nothing else I can say about it, except I really love this book for so many different reasons. I mean, we could talk about so many of the different things that took place in this book, and it can also just help us to reflect on our lives as well, and gleaming certain key points that we can take with us and run with it. I mean, books can help you learn so much information, not just about, you know, the books that you're reading, but also about humans and ourselves. And yeah, it's literally so amazing. So anyways, thank you so much for watching this reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.